All right. Welcome to the Bangor Daily News Sports Show. I'm your host, Adam Robinson, with our co-host, Larry Mahoney. We are in the midst of the main high school basketball tournament. We are almost done quarterfinals in all the classes and heading into semifinals. And we're just going to go kind of class by class up here in the north and boys and girls and see what has kind of stuck out to us. I'll go real quick on double A boys.
Sure. North, yep.
Yeah, north. Hamden lost to Cheverus, which I mean Cheverus is they beat them twice in the regular season,
Yeah.
and it makes sense that they won again. And then Bangor got beat by Oxford Hills, but it wasn't for a lack of trying.
Yeah.
Single digits in the first half. I watched that game. They play really good defense and they really work you. But Tegan Pelletier and Cole Balkanen just too much for that Bangor team.
Yeah, I mean they're young and
well,
I don't know if they're young, but they're inexperienced.
Mhm.
To lose that big senior class, which has hurt them in all sports, really.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that I had them against Skowhegan, and they were scrappy. I mean, I was impressed. I mean, they had trouble scoring. They missed a ton of shots, but I was impressed with their feistiness and how they were gritty. They fought for everything. They just weren't under, I mean, they were just outclassed by a much better Skowhegan team. But I mean, some of those kids are getting valuable playing time. Now that I think they do have some seniors, though. I mean, but
yeah, they did.
some of the young players got some valuable playing time. We'll see if we always talk about things being cyclical, and hopefully, they got some good players coming up in the younger ages, and they'll be able to certainly be better next year.
Yeah, and they're always well coached, and I think that was a big part of how they
Yeah.
stayed in a lot of games this year. All right, so girls side, double A North. What do we got? We got some semifinals here.
Yeah, I mean we've got some really interesting semifinals. One because you never know. Oxford Hills beat Hamden twice during the regular season, handily. And Hamden upset Wyndham to get to the semis to face Oxford Hills, who I picked as a favorite.
Yeah.
Although I actually picked Cheverus just because I really think Maddie Fitzpatrick is a game changer.
Yeah.
I think she had a triple double in the first playoff game. So, I mean, Oxford Hills. I mean, Nick Winchester's a very good coach. Hamden played very good team defense. Very, very good team defense, but I just don't think they have the weapons. They certainly Bella McLaughlin's having a great senior year. And she's a load. She's a guard, but she's strong. She's a strong physical guard. She's quick, going to Providence. So she's going to give some issues. They're going to have to get something. Lucy Wiles has had a good season, the other guard, but they're going to have to get something from some of the other components, some of the other players, like a Lauren Voter or somebody like that's going to have to step up if they're going to stay with Oxford Hills. Oxford Hills as Sierra Carson, Ella Pelletier, Corbett, Darren Berger. They just get so many weapons, and I think Nick told me the first time they played them, he said Oxford Hills shot over 60% from the floor.
It's made everything right.
Then we got Bangor Cheverus, fascinating matchup. Bangor won the opener. But it was the season opener, and again, Cheverus lost a big senior class. They still have the two studs, and Maddie Fitzpatrick, a first team all made as a sophomore, and then Emma Lazat, the big, who's was a second teamer. Again, that's good. And of course, Bangor has Abby Quinn inside having a great year, a rebound leader in Double A North, and Emmy Streams, a point guard, going to main, leads the conference in assists. It'll come down to what it'll come down to. We're gonna neutralize. I think Fitzpatrick's the best player. Will be the best player on the court. But Streams is a very good defender. But I think I give a little edge in the top two. I'll give a little bit of an edge to Cheverus. But then but not a difference making edge. You know what I mean? So it's going to come down to the support cast for both teams. Bangor has had games where they've hit 8 to 10 threes. If Cassie Ireland, players like that, could hit threes, they'll have a chance to beat Cheverus. If they don't, if Cheverus' supporting cast outplays Bangor supporting cast, Cheverus moves on. So that's what I see right there.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. The Cassidy Ireland and Taylor Coombs are
Right.
the X factors, if you will, I guess. Yeah,
And one of the things that will hurt Bangor in a close game is that they don't shoot free throws very well.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Right.
But that's really going to be interesting. And Hammond's got nothing to lose if they play good defense and they can get some production from again their supplemental scores. I mean, they could keep it close, but you got to think Oxford Hills is a favorite. And then I think I picked Shepherds to win it because of Fitzpatrick to beat Oxford Hills in the final. But
Yeah.
again, we've got semifinals to go, and as we learned, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. That's a good segue to Class A North boys. Nokomis was my dark horse in A North, and they got beat on a buzzer beater by Mesalonsky's Merrick Smith, and so
Yeah.
they're out. Brewer won, Skowhegan won. Brewer had a scare against Camden Hills.
Yes.
We're down 7 at the half to the 8 seed Camden Hills, but came back, and Brady Saunders got his 1,000th point in the early in
Yeah.
the third, and I think that really launched the comeback for Brewer. And so they're in the semis with Coney tomorrow night in Augusta, and it's Skowhegan and Mesalonsky in the other matchup in A North. So my prediction of Skowhegan and Brewer is still alive. I think Brewer will have their hands full again with Coney. I watched their game with Mount Blue. They handled Mount Blue easily.
Yeah, they did. I was surprised because
Yeah.
Mount Blue took Brewer in overtime, right? Or lost by 6 during
lost by 6, yeah.
in the regular season, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they're a tough team, but Coney shot the ball really well.
Yeah.
They don't have a dominating big presence,
But neither does Brewer.
neither does Brewer. So I think that helps Brewer a little bit, because teams like Skowhegan give them trouble. Obviously lost to Skowhegan. Camden Hills had a big man who got a lot of rebounds and defended the rim really well, and kind of screwed Brewer up a little bit in that first half. But
Yeah.
I still think it's Brewer and Skowhegan.
Yep.
But we will see tomorrow night in Augusta. If Skowhegan can keep playing, they're on a really good run, and their bigs are playing really well. Adam Savage
And they
had a
have
big
so
game.
many bigs.
Yeah,
They've got the twins, and then they got Savage. They're all 6'5", 6'6".
yeah, and they really hound Brewer, who
Brewer must press.
they do.
Yeah, they must press him because if you can't get it to the big, that's going to be the key. If that's what happens,
Mhm.
can the Skowhegan guards get the ball to their bigs?
Yeah, exactly. Because they have Cam Hughes and Ryder Goodwin, who two really tough kids and somewhat tall, but they're not as tall as Skowhegan's bigs, and I think that was the difference. So
Plus, you could use your bigs as your press breakers.
Yeah, right. Throw it to them at half court.
Don't have exactly. Yeah.
So that's a very fun region I'm looking forward to. Real quick, Larry, do you have anything on A North girls?
Well, I mean, Nokomis advanced. They're the they're the 5 seed.
Yep.
They've got Gardner, Coney, Lawrence. Coney's playing very well down the stretch, and I guess they've got some good shooters like the boys team. So
yeah.
But again, I can't see either team getting upset. I can't see any other outcome other than Gardner and Lawrence. Although hey, give credit to Coney, they've had a heck of a year, and the Nokomis has played well. They've played some good basketball. So and again, they struggled last year. I think they had some injuries last year, so it's a nice bounce back for the Nokomis. So, but no, I expect Gardner Lawrence final.
Gotcha. Yeah, not much has changed until something has changed. We've seen already that anything really can happen. Well, let's go to B North, where I say that, but there was one big upset actually.
It's the one that everyone's. Yeah, I mean, people in the tournament. It's the biggest upset of the tournament so far.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's Winslow Prescott.
Yeah, Prescott beat Winslow in the boys quarterfinal 65-45. They held Jason Reynolds to 9 points. Malachi Cummings, just a tough, gritty player. He can shoot really well. That was really fun to watch. I previewed him as one of the players to watch at the beginning of the season, because I was told really good things, and that was my first time getting to see him, and he didn't disappoint. He can score everywhere. He hit his free throws, hit threes, got to the hole. And then they just played a little box and one with Jason Reynolds, made his life miserable, and after losing by 20 something points each time to Winslow in the regular season, they came back and won by 20. Those 2 games were in December. So a lot can change, but they were definitely prepared this time, and So Presque Isle will go on and play Orono, who had a 10-point win over Caribou
Yep.
in the quarters. And then on the other side, it's Ellsworth took care of their quarterfinal against Washington Academy, and Old Town beat Foxcroft by 9. So it's Ellsworth and Old Town in that one.
Pretty much what you predicted, with the exception of the Presque Isle Winslow outcome.
Exactly. Yeah. But Ellsworth, Old Town will be really good. Chance Mercier and
They
the whole
split during the
crew.
regular season.
No, Ellsworth beat them by
twice.
2 one
Yeah.
time. They only
They'll
played
play
once.
once,
And
okay.
that was their closest game, though, is 60-58.
Yep.
So that'll be really good. Old Town just spreads it out. Everyone
Yeah.
can kind of do stuff on that team. So that'll be real fun to watch. Ellsworth also a deep team. And then
Yeah.
Orono Presque Isle is I am very excited for this. Pierce Walston on Orono and that whole crew of just athletes, some really good football players, and they're really good basketball players. And then Malachi Cummings, who is, I guess, a star at this point. He has a chance to add on to that tomorrow at noon in Bangor. So looking forward to those two on the boys' side. On the girls' side, what do you got here?
Oh, on the girls' side, Old Town just looked really, really good. I mean, they moved the ball so well.
They do, yeah.
Against Presque Isle. I mean, they just and like the Presque Isle coach said, I mean, she just marveled at their ball movement and how they never took a bad shot.
No,
they always took an open shot. Then you had Taylor Loring, the freshman, in her debut. 19 points, 5 rebounds. Just and then Sage Evans was player of the year a year ago. I mean, they're going to be very difficult to beat. I mean, because they have so many weapons. They play great defense. They smother you. They didn't play particularly well offensively, but they didn't need to. You've got them, and then you've got they've got Holton.
Holton,
Scrappy. I mean, they'll make them work for it. Yeah, I was impressed with Holton. They're scrappy. They're athletic. But then Caribou and Ellsworth both had impressive wins, and Caribou beat them twice, both by 3 points. So that's going to be fascinating.
That'll be really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's still Old Town, as well as Hodgson played. I don't think they can. Old Town just they're too balanced offensively and defensively. I mean, they great defense, great help defense, athletic, and then they got you got a freshman that's leads them in scoring in her first game. I mean, it's just first Civic Center game. So but I think Caribou, but again, Holton has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So they can play loose, and we've already seen the huge upset in the boys with Presque Isle and Winslow. So you never know. But because Old Town plays such good defense, and they have all the weapons they're the favorite to win it. Caribou and Ellsworth should be really, really good. You got stars on both teams, but and you also have a good supporting cast. So they play 2 3-point games. So that's what we have in B North.
Yeah. All right.
How about C boys?
C boys, we have let's see here. So last night we were talking before this that the Bangor games haven't been particularly close, and the margin of victory have been in the 20s.
26 according to it was 26 according to Rick Sinclair.
Right.
Going into your 2 games.
Exactly.
But they turned out they lowered that.
Lowered that a little bit. Yeah, we got
at least you had 2 competitive games to cover.
Yeah, I was excited about
in
that.
my 4 games so far, the average winning margin has been 30 points.
Yeah, so it's just been
so
that can be the quarter.
Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed the last 2 games last night. We had Dexter and Lee Academy. Dexter won 50-40. It's very cool that Lee Academy is the Pandas.
Yeah,
I learned that last night. That's awesome.
The only team in the state without a Pandas.
Yeah, it's a great nickname. Dexter Will Kuzniers is the guy that gets a lot of the attention, and he's going to Husson next year. But they put a diamond in one defense on him last night and held him to 12 points, where he regularly this year scored in the high 20s.
Yeah.
So they slowed him down. It was Bryce Connor had 14 for Dexter. He shot, I think he hit 3 or 4 threes, played really well. And they had a couple other guys who just got the job done. Lee tried to push the pace, and Dexter slowed it down. and tried to play their game, and they came out with
The other key, foul shooting.
Exactly.
Dexter hit their foul shots.
Yep. Yeah, they struggled at the beginning. Even Will Kuzniers, I started 1 for 4, but then from the free throw line. But then fourth quarter, they hit almost all their
They
free
did.
throws.
They did. That's critical. Yeah, because a lot of those are 1-and-1s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All right. So the other quarterfinal I had last night in C North was Fort Kent and George Stevens. It was a 38-36 win by Fort Kent. It was kind of a weird game, tied after a first quarter. Fort Kent went up outscored George Stevens 16-4 in the second quarter, and then got outscored 6-1 in the third. So George Stevens grinded their way back in, and then in the last 30 seconds they had 2 chances to either win or tie the game. Couldn't get it done. Ethan Daigle made a free throw to make it a 2-point game with 8 seconds left, and George Stevens didn't have a timeout, and their shot at the end didn't go in, and Fort Kent survives. So they're going to take on Dexter in the semifinal. And then on the other side, I've got Tuesday night, which is when we're recording this. I have number 1 Calais and number 8 Penobscot Valley, and then I also have Fort Fairfield and Woodland, number 4 and number 5. I checked before this, and Calais and Penobscot Valley haven't played each other, and Fort Fairfield and Woodland hadn't played each other. So we shall see how that looks.
So sometimes too, again, we've talked about this about schedules too.
Yeah.
You got a team with 2 or 3 fewer wins, but they played a tougher schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So they come in and they handle the team higher seeded, because the higher seeded team had a very weak schedule.
Yeah.
And they weren't battle tested. So that's the thing. That's the beauty of these matchups.
Yeah, exactly. Last night, Fort Kent had a much better record than George Stevens, and it came right down to the wire.
Yep.
So
Yep.
That is the fun of these types of matchups. And so C North girls, Larry, what do you got here?
C North girls, we've got pretty much the top seeds have held service. I mean, so far, 2 very impressive wins yesterday. Penobscot Valley, again, played just such tenacious defense.
Yeah.
And Hodgson, again, played very, very well. They did what they had to do to win. I mean, they weren't seriously challenged.
Right.
Anna Oliver is a terrific player, but she was really shut down by really effectively by a girl named Isabel Pryor. So I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Denied her the ball, just made it really tough on her. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. But I don't think Hodgson played particularly well, but they weren't really challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Against Central Aroostook. So we'll see what they do. In the next round. And like I said, Penobscot Valley beat Sumner. Sumner was very physical, but vastly undersized.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a size mismatch, and we were kidding. It's like virtually everyone who plays for Penobscot Valley is around 6 feet, weighs about 89 pounds.
Yeah,
they're all tall, thin, physical.
Yep.
Athletic, very athletic. And again, Ellie Austin had 16, and then the Loring twins, Kaya and Holly each had 12. I mean, so they're a tough matchup because they're so tall and so athletic. But that'll be interesting to see. And then tonight I have the 4-5 matchup, really interesting. Really looking forward to seeing this.
Yes.
Central and Mananoquock, they split during the regular season. Central, of course, has the Allen sisters, Izzy, who's going to Maine, averaging 25 points a game, and her younger sister Mary, who's a freshman, but really provided them with supplemental scoring. Then Mananoquock, they got very tall, athletic. I mean, they've got some good players. That'll be interesting.
Yep.
And then Dexter and Fort Kent, we talked about schedule. Fort Kent plays a tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They do. I mean, they've played some good teams. I think they played Presque Isle and Holton and Caribou. They've played some good teams. So, Fort Kent, I think, has played Wisdom. I think they played Southern Aroostook, the 2 D juggernauts. So that could be interesting. And Dexter doesn't blow you away. They're just Jody Grant's teams just suffocate you defensively. They hold you to like 24, 26 points. And they're very patient with the ball, and they'll beat you 40-24.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. So I think both the 4-5 between Central and Manoka is going to be fascinating. And then the next game, you never know. You never know.
Right.
D North
All right.
boys.
D North boys. So Southern Aroostook took care of Jonesport. The 1 seed moves on to play Bangor Christian, who beat Easton by 8. They had their full team. I still don't know what happened in that final regular season game with Bangor Christian and Machias, in which Machias beat Bangor Christian by like 50 or 60 points.
Yeah.
They must have had people out, but Jalen Reed was there and playing really good basketball. He had 17 and 12, 4 blocks. He kind of does it all. He's their person, so he's going to need to be big. And they've got a couple shooters too.
Yeah.
On Bangor Christian, they'll all need to be on the top of their game if they want to take down Southern Aroostook later this week. Actually, tomorrow, Wednesday. So also, Skank beat Katahdin a couple days ago, and they'll play Machias, who beat Wisdom 73-50. Machias with Shane Feeney played really well again. He's having a real good season.
So you're looking probably at Machias, Southern Aroostook.
I would, if I had to guess, and that was my prediction.
Yeah.
Machias, Southern Aroostook, just because I think Southern Aroostook's the best team, and I think Machias has maybe the best player in Shane Feeney. I really like what I've seen from him. So Skank Machias and Southern Aroostook Bangor Christian in D North. Larry, what do you have for the girls?
I think pretty much what I've been saying from day one. Southern Aroostook and Wisdom. They will be the teams that'll be in the final. I don't see anybody, I don't see anybody else. We did have, it's been a showdown that's been waiting to happen, and they don't play during the regular season. They're 2 hours apart, so that'll be, again, they've got semifinal matchups. I don't see them struggling in either of their semifinals. It just and between the 4 of them, you got 4,000 point scores.
Yeah, it's just
so. I mean, Lily Roy's terrific. Madison Russell, Cammy Shields, the Willette girl, Olivia Willette from Wisdom. So, that'll be your final. So like I said, they both have semifinals. I don't see them having any problems in the semifinals.
Gotcha. All right, so that's our tournament update. We will hopefully have one again soon, maybe on Monday. After all the regional finals and whatnot.
We get ready for states then.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a lot to look forward to, the cream of the crop here. So all right. Well, thank you, Larry. Thanks for coming on. And
enjoy the tournament. Be careful. We don't know about Thursday and Friday. We're supposed to get a big snowstorm. So if you end up going to games in difficult weather, just be very safe. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't get anywhere near the person in front of you. Just keep your distance and be safe and enjoy the tournaments.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. We'll take care, and we will see you next week.